Love is God. Live in love. Live in love. Live in love.
Sai Ram and welcome to OMS. Oh My Sai. In the year 1980, I had just joined the first year of the bachelor's program at what was then the Sri Sathya Sai Arts and Science College for Women at Anantapur. And before joining and taking this big decision in my life, I used to fantasize, dream, and crave for Bhagawan and his attention at home. For years, I had been a devotee. We had been coming to Prasanthi Nilayam, and I truly believed that becoming his student was my passport to his attention, his grace, his love, some gifts from him. I was so looking forward to this day when I would set foot in that college. With a lot of prayers and difficulty, when I eventually got admission and we heard the news that Bhagawan is coming to our campus, I thought this was finally my day. Every dog has his day and mine was about to arrive. So I was sure Bhagawan will come with open arms, ask where is that girl from Singapore, and just give me the biggest ever bear hug and talk to me and fulfill all my heart's desires. Now it so happened when Bhagawan arrived, there was a huge welcome, lot of ceremony. Swami went from one part of the campus to the other. And in all that excitement, I heard so many sisters say, "Oh, Swami took my letter, Swami looked at me, Swami called me Dono Puttu, Swami put his hand on my head and blessed me." But I was nowhere in any of these episodes. Somehow I was constantly at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I missed out on every opportunity till it was time for Bhagawan to return to Puttaparthi. I simply cannot tell you how heartbroken I was. I thought all my love for Swami was imaginary and his love for me was a figment of my imagination. All those wonderful dreams Bhagawan had given me before I moved to the campus, they were all made up. They just came out of my own subconscious mind because we were told that Swami's dreams are real and Swami had been very gracious to me in my dreams. Now, all that was obviously not true because he didn't even look as much as look at me. And as luck would have, I was neither a Veda girl, nor a music girl, nor one of those talented Bharatanatyam artists. So I didn't get to do anything in front of Swami, even to catch his attention. And as he was leaving the campus, he came down the prayer hall. He walked through the middle of that garden. We have a quadrangular garden in the middle of our hostel. And I was at the far end of the corridor. I still remember I was sitting in front of the medicine room. I remember which sister from Anantapur, first year sister, Lakshmi, was sitting next to me. Swami came. The corridor was 2 steps higher than the garden. His eyes were downcast. He was looking at his own toe. He lifted the hem of his robe, looking down. Then he went step 1, step 2, and he was very physically close to me. And from looking at his toe, he straight looked into my eyes and he said, "Good girl." I simply cannot tell you how important that moment was for me. What a validation it was. It wasn't all false after all. I hadn't only imagined. And he knew what struggles I had gone through to survive that first month of Anantapur life, and what struggles I had gone through to get admission and to be there, and all the internal battles I had fought and all the demons I had wrestled with on the inside to try to make myself worthy of his love and his attention. Those nanoseconds were my OMS moment. That if I need anything in life, it is validation from the source, from the one who I believe knows everything, my inner struggles, my smallest desires, who lives in my heart and listens to all my internal chatter in my head and so on. And this OMS moment has stayed with me all my life. So let's fast forward to the year 2009. By now, I was in my 40s and I was married. I had 2 children, and my husband and I, and one of my 2 children relocated to Prasanthi Nilayam. The other one had lived here earlier and finished her schooling and gone back to study elsewhere. So when I came here and offered to volunteer under Professor G. Venkatraman at what was then Radio Sai, I wanted one moment of validation from Swami. I wanted that OMS moment again. that he knew that I had taken such a big leap of faith and moved continents. And I was living in a place that was not native to me. Perhaps I came from Canada. Perhaps where I come from and living in Canada was easier of an assimilation and a transition than coming to a place in Rayalaseema with all the challenges that come with living here. Those years, I craved for Swami's attention. But I was always, again, as luck would have it, or I think that is my sadhana, I'm always at the wrong place at the wrong time. And if I sat on the ex-students line, Swami would go to the other side. If I did security duty, they would move my position to where the only spot where Swami would not come. Not intentionally, I would land in that position because in the rotational chart, I would end up being where Swami would not come. I was quite heartbroken and I was looking for validation from him again, obviously. Then one day, Swami came in my dream very vividly and he said to me, "You want two things from me. You want me to look at you and talk to you, and you want to be close to me." Then Swami, and this dream played out in the Darshan ground. Swami pointed at some people who I knew. He said, "If I talk to you, all these people will be jealous. And yes, you are close to me." And I woke up. And from that day onwards, although Swami's darshans had become fewer, and I must mention, I had no special seating. I had a designated spot to sit, but it was not advantageous from any angle. So it just so happened, every single time Bhagawan entered the Kulwant hall from Yajur Mandir, I was about the fifth person on the spot. On his right, there is an elevated podium and then there is a drop. In the drop, in that little alley, I was like the fourth or the fifth person. Every single time, the VIP ladies and Bhagawan would always have an interaction. He would be blessing their children, giving them names, receiving their letters, talking to them, lots of Pad Namaskars. But throughout what business he did there, his eyes would pierce through the four lines and look straight into my eyes. And I have no idea how. Of course, he can do it all. He can part the seas. He would somehow part the four lines in front of me and create a straight line of sight between his beautiful big black eyes and mine. And I cannot tell you, I had repeated OMS moments every single darshan. Nobody noticed that Bhagawan was looking me so intensely into my eyes. And through that gaze that the Sacharita talks that the mother tortoise can be on the other bank of the river and her babies can be on the other side. But the gaze of the mama tortoise is enough to nurture the baby tortoise. My mama tortoise, my mother Sai, repeatedly gave me those OMS moments, and in that silence, in that look, in that piercing gaze that went through my soul and invigorated it from within, I received much more than any interaction or interview or chances or an object of materialization could ever have given me. Today I fall back on my OMS moments to draw my strength and to find my way every time I face a roadblock, frustration, or a sense of dejection. And believe you me, I go back to 1980 and I remember when I thought Swami knew nothing about me and he knew it all, and he summed it up in those two words, "Good girl." That's all that matters. The only validation we need is from him, and that's the only validation we should seek. Because if the Lord of the universe is pleased with us, everything else falls into place. And let's not forget, everything else is superfluous.